Welcome back, everyone. This episode promises to be a blockbuster where I restore the top on the Alaska Blue 914 and I restore the rocker panels and front and rear volants. And I receive a gift from Germany, and Super Rabbit eats green grass in the garden. If you'd like to support the channel, please buy me a coffee or buy my rabbit some pellets. Check the link in the description. We've got another big, long episode here, so we're just gonna jump right in. If you haven't, please subscribe and always drop us a comment. Hey, this is Thomas Otten. We have here a freshly painted Porsche 914, and we have also the yet to be painted black bits. What I mean is the rockers, the front volants, the rear volants, and the top could use a refresh as well. So first, let's go over what we have here. Up first here, these are brand new reproduction rocker panels from Auto Atlanta. We've painted the back with just normal spray paint, and the front sides have been sealed with some epoxy. So we've applied epoxy to it to seal everything in, and then we've sanded it, and then we put some primer over it, and then we sanded it a bit. We have some metal showing, and we'll have to deal with that. And we have one little blemish here. And then next is the front volants here. You see we have all kinds of body work that we had to do on this thing. And so it does need a little bit more work. And then our rear volants is more or less ready to go. Might need a few touch-ups here and there, but it's been sanded down and primed with some primer surfacer. So everything has primer surfacer on it, but everything needs just a little bit more work. Up here, this is the top. The top needs some, it's got some minor little problems, right? Little chip here, chip there. Right back here, we've got some issues. Looks like the paint is chipping. Not sure if this has been repainted at least once. Could be. So to start with, we're just going to start with some simple green and some paper towels, and we're going to go over the whole top and we're going to clean it real good. And that's not only going to clean off the visible dust, but it's also going to clean off any wax, because who knows, somebody might have tried to wax this top to make it look better, you know. So we want to get all of that off. And so we're going to start with simple green, which is a good degreaser. And let's just get to it. Okay, so for the deepest one, I'm going to be using some 150 grit sandpaper. And we're just going to rough up there in the damaged area. And we'll go around it a little bit too, just to make sure we don't have any flaking of the paint. go on to the next one. This one is probably the next worst. And anywhere just to roughen it, every little spot up a little bit. All right. And now we're just going to use some short strand fiberglass filler. Just a little amount is all that's needed. And this is the bit that concerns me the most, is this really big chip here. So, whoa, thing is sliding off there. I'm just going to fill in this. And we might have to do it more than once. I don't know. We'll see how it goes here. I don't want to build it higher. I want to build it actually lower. And the reason is this stuff is kind of hard to sand. Or it's harder than body filler to sand. So I'm just going to fill it in. And then if I need a little more, I'll put a little body filler on it. And then we'll go to the next little spot and do the same. Let's put some here. Just enough to fill that in somewhat. And then here, this one's important. We need to get something to make this strong again here. Take some more of that. Just smother it in there and get it to fill in the gap that's there. I just want to take my finger and do it, it's easier. Okay, and then maybe we got this one here, a little bit of something on this one. We don't need much. I think we'll get that with the body filler. And this one's okay. Oh, do need to add a little to that one. Alrighty. Think that'll do. So, even though we've already done all of our body work on this, and now we've applied primer over it, I'm still finding dents in this thing, believe it or not. And that's just because these things take so much abuse being up the front low on the car like that. So what I'm gonna do, I've got over here on the workbench, I'm gonna be applying some glazing putty. And glazing putty is like body filler. I've already got it there. But it sands a lot easier than body filler. And that helps you do a little finessing, so you don't disturb everything around where you're working. So go apply some of this stuff. Got some mess in there. And we've just got a couple of spots that really need a little fixing up here. I kind of have to feel for them. So I don't know exactly where they are, but I think it's right here. That's one, you can tell. Big old dent there, right? So this is filling that in kind of nicely. And I think we had one along here too. Yeah, right here feels a little weird. And then I had one right on here on this guy. Stuff's already drying. So on our top now, we've got these short strand fillers dried. It's hardened. Very important to let it dry all the way, or else you start pulling it off when you sand it. I'm going to take some 120 now. And we're just going to sand this bit here. Not a whole lot of sanding is needed because remember, we didn't fill it all the way up. We left it a little low on purpose. So that's how it looks after sanding that down. And of course, we lose a little bit of the texture around there, right? And this one back here, I've got this area strengthened again. Again, losing a little bit of the texture from the sanding. And here as well. So I think we're ready for the next step. Now we're just sanding the rest of the filler off. Just using some 120 or 150 grit paper. I'm trying not to press on here when I'm doing. I'm just letting the sandpaper do all the work. Okay, so while I got just a little bit of daylight left, I'm gonna go hit those rockers and the volants with some primer. For the rockers, for the parts that are showing metal, I'm gonna be putting some self-etching primer. And for the parts that I put filler over, I'm gonna be hitting those with some single stage, well, one part, I guess it's called 1K primer filler. This isn't as good as the 2K, but for little bits and parts, kind of gets you out of a bind and lets you keep moving the project along. Okay, so y'all can come out to meet with me to my little garden bridge, which really needs repair, but for now it's gonna serve as the platform for painting. And really just hitting any of the spots that I put filler on, or where we have exposed filler. And then for the rockers, we're going to be hitting any spots that have metal shown with just a light coat. And what I will do before I sand these, I will cover these with some of the other stuff. So the primer surfacer, I'll put some of that on there. That way this just doesn't get sanded away quickly, because it's only a light coat. So I'll wait for this to dry, and then about 10 minutes I'll put the other stuff on. Okay, so now I'm mixing up just a little bit of the glazing putty. And we're going to be putting this onto the top over the short strand stuff that we had sanded. Remember, we put that on just a little low, and now we're going to put this on. Everything drops, falls, and let's fill this up a little bit, just a little bit. Don't need a whole lot. Best thing is just to wet it all first, and then just shape it how you want it. If I put too much, it's okay, because this stuff is kind of soft.
And a little late night garden snack for the super rabbit. I'm going to take a little pause here. My cousin in Germany has been watching the channel, and he has sent us a little gift.
Okay, cousin has sent me this from Germany, a little present, so let's see. Let's check out what it is. Alright. Whoa, look at that. It looks like some sort of, oh, okay, it's a keychain. Look at that. It's a keychain with the little Volkswagen on the end. Oh no, that's not a Volkswagen. That's a Porsche 9. Looks like a 911. Now the only problem with this little keychain is that it's not a 914. It might give the passenger the impression that we long to be 911 owners while we're driving our 914, and that's not the case. We love our 914s. And wouldn't you? Just look at them. Actually, I do own a 911, but this is what it looks like. Subject for a future video.
Danke, Cousin, für das Geschenk.
And now we're just going to do a light amount of sanding on these with the 150 grit paper. I'm not trying to make it perfect because we're going to put texture on here again, but I do want to make it so that it doesn't project out, you know. And I'm trying not to totally destroy the texture around it. So I'd say we've got that problem pretty well taken care of. So got all these areas filled in. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and lightly sand the whole top, because it's evident to me that it has been painted once before and the paint is flaking off, right? So I don't want to take all this paint off because we're going to retexture it, but I want to get it to where we don't have any flakiness. So that's more or less what I'm going to do everywhere. And we're not going to sand it too much because we don't want to detexturize it. Try to leave some of this texture on there. And we're just going to put a little bit of primer on these spots that we modified. Okay, what I'm going to do now, since after my primer has dried, I'm going to use a little bit of a Scotch-Brite pad, and I'm going to hit these little areas here that I wasn't able to get to with the sander, just to get some roughness there. And I'm also going to go over the bits that I put primer on. Just to make it a little rough so that the next layer will stick. And of course, remove any chipping or loose paint. Now the spraying the primer on here has revealed the presence of some tiny hairline cracks. And damn dogs. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and fill this in with a razor blade with some little putty, because I don't think, if primer didn't fill it in, the next coat of paint won't fill it in either, and it might look kind of bad. So let's just go ahead and get rid of them wherever we see them. All right, at this point I turned the top over, and we're going to be removing these rubber seals. They're already coming off, and we have some replacements coming in for them. And let's just get rid of them, that way they don't interfere with our painting. Just pull them off, and we can leave the rails on, and we'll just tape along there. So I don't really wish to set up a full spray booth for this and for the volants and so on. So what I'm doing, I've just got one of those, 10 by 10 easy up tents, and I put it up, but I haven't put it up all the way. I've just put it up really just to its first height. And believe it or not, I can stand up in here. I have to lean over a little bit, but I'm 6'4" and I can stand up in here. So I'm going to set up my parts here. I've got a little light set up here, and this will let me spray, and I won't get a lot of contamination from the outdoors, because our parts will be up to about this level here. And then once the parts are painted, I'm going to take them. Sorry, that's a aircraft flying overhead. Once the parts are painted, then I just take them immediately inside to dry, and that way I don't get a lot of dust. We'll just do some final sanding here. Okay, now we're going to just do a final cleaning of the top. I'm going to be using some pre-cleano. Look at that. This will pick up any last dust or grease.
And here we're using the Worth rubberized undercoating to establish some texture over these spots.
Okay, so looking at it now, you see this texture has done a really good job, except for one little spot. It seems like this area right here. So I'm going to hit that again and put some more texture on that area. I kind of missed, but I think it'll be all right. Let's just let that dry rather than... There's always a tendency to want to like just spray more and more and more to fix whatever you did. Just let it dry and then come back to it. And then that's probably not going to be very bad at all. So I'm just having to put a little more on this spot here. Just trying to bury that. Put some real dry spray on there. And I think that will get rid of that little indentation there eventually. Okay, everything has been sanded with 600 grit paper. I'm just gonna wash off the residue.
Now this part here might be a bit controversial. I'm applying this Worth product to the bottom of the front Valance spoiler. They originally did not have that texture, but this one was just so beat up, and it's just better to just put some texture to kind of hide some of these imperfections.
Well, after about 3 or 4 times trying to get this dent to go away, see it there, I'm just gonna sand it, start over. I'm building up around it as I'm trying to spray into it, so I'm really just gonna have to sand it. And let this dry, and then shoot some more on top of it. Because we don't want to let this stuff just build up, because then you're trapping solvent in the paint. And so you can see it there, the little gash. Wish I had noticed that more when we were doing the filler work, but okay, so we've got the we're at the point now where we're going to shoot we're going to shoot the texture over the whole surface now. We've done our repairs everywhere and they blend in pretty good, so now we can sort of dust it off, and then we're going to shoot this everywhere over the whole thing at a far distance, because we just want to improve the texture a little bit. Okay, we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to come back and take a look at it. Got a little heavy right there, but I think that will die down. And actually I need a little more over here. I'm going to put some more right there. In fact, the whole side. All right, so for the grill, which consists of these 3 pieces here, all I'm really going to do on this is I've cleaned it already. Well, I've removed the letters. Tedious process, but I've cleaned it with simple green, degreased it, and now I'm just going to use a Scotch-Brite pad and roughen everything up. And that should be enough for the purpose of painting these things. Okay, now I'm just going to take a towel and I'm going to rub, just to rub off any dry paint. Okay, so I have mixed up some just black with 2-to-1 reducer, just straight black paint, and I'll put it in our gun. Out of paint already.
Now on this top I applied a coat of matte finish clear that will give the top very good UV protection. Now results will vary depending on how much texture you have on that top. You want to make sure that your texture is not too rough before shooting clear. On my car, I actually knocked down the texture somewhat so that I could get that clear to just lay down nicely over the texture.
Okay, so we're gonna start on refurbishing the bottom side of the top. We've got 2 factory original Porsche seals for the windows. And then we have this is a reproduction Auto Atlanta rear top seal. Looking at it, Seems like it's made up with a little bit of adhesive tape for this felt portion, which is already coming off. So we'll have to do something about that. Okay, so now we're coming around to these end pieces here. Now, unfortunately, the reproduction is a little different from the original. If you look, the original has embedded in it a metal, I guess, hold down clamp, and it goes on both sides of it. If I cut that out, it really doesn't do me any good. Well, what I have to do is basically cut it right here. So we just take the portion that holds down, and unfortunately that's what we have to do. So I'm gonna have to go take this outside and just cut this off with the cutting wheel, and then that's how it goes together. Now this one is actually going to go over that one, which wasn't how I remembered it, but that's apparently the only way it works. These little screws. And there's our last screw right here. And now we're going to replace the missing screws. So we're missing 1, 2, and 3 screws, and unfortunately these are hard to find. So what I had to do was take some and cut them down, because I don't want them driving through. The ones that I have are just too long and they would drive through here. So we sawed the top of them off, and we'll put them in a proper screwdriver. Hear those dogs barking all the time? It's crazy. So that's about the size of the screws that I had to make. Anything longer and you can feel them starting to come through the other side. So what can we do about our little tape coming off here? I believe what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it back a little till it stops. And then we're just going to put some of this 3M super weather strip gasket adhesive stuff on there. Let's give that a minute or so to tack up a little. And then we're just going to put it down, put it down, put it down. And then we're going to hold it down with some masking tape until it dries. That should do it. And don't let me forget to tighten up all these screws. Okay, now for the rubber seals, we just have to make sure we put them on the right side. And then we just put a bunch of simple green in here. Get it all nice and wet and slippery. And we just try to put it in. And hopefully it goes easy, right? Not too easy. It's gonna take some work, I can tell. So this worked a lot easier. What I did was I only put it on the outer rail and then slid it on. And then now what I'm doing is I'm just working it in on this side. And that seems to be a lot better method than trying to fight all of that resistance. Even with the lubricant, it was just really difficult, but this seems to be getting it in. And use a plastic thing like this, that way you don't get it all messed up like someone did here. And it's going pretty good. And there we have it. We've got our rear targa top seal replaced. We've got our side seals replaced. We're going to leave the headliner since it's in decent shape. And if you look here, we actually did buy a reproduction bolster piece here. So you can see how that looks. Very nice. And also got some from 914 rubber, some new sun visors there. So everything looks really good here.
And here you can see how the rockers and the volants turned out. These are also finished with the black, with coated with the matte clear. And that's all the time we have today on our super duper 914 show. Until next time, cheers.